Joseph from the Bible had a dream, Martin Luther King had a dream, and thank God my brother David had a dream. Most of you know that my family adopted 2 incredible children from Ethiopia. What few know is the story behind that process and the way it has changed my life and the life of my family for the better. I was a 3rd grader, sitting at our counter for breakfast, when my oldest brother, David, came bounding downstairs announcing that he had a dream. A very real dream, that our family adopted from Africa. All 3 of my brothers and I thought this was a fantastic idea. My parents said we were not adopting from Africa or anywhere. About a year later, my brother had another dream that we adopted from Africa. This time, he strongly urged my parents to reconsider adoption. My parents agreed to pray about and consider this possibility. One of the first steps was to meet with a social worker at Catholic Charities. My parents expected the social worker to think that they were nuts, that they were considering adoption because of a dream. To their surprise, when the social worker asked why they wanted to adopt, she didn't think they were wacko. Instead, she asked if we noted the dates of the dreams. My dad was confused by our question, but she explained that this was more common than you think, and that our children may have been born around the time David had his dreams. My parents decided after that meeting to continue praying and walking through every door God opened for adoption. This would begin a long process of paperwork, prayer, and soon a long plane ride to Ethiopia. In February of 2010, my parents took us to dinner and with great excitement introduced us to pictures to Yasu and Gebetu Gurung. We wanted to leave on an airplane the next day and gather them up in our arms and give them a big welcoming hug. To our dismay, it would be 3 long months of waiting and planning to fly 18 hours to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. During this time, our family prepared for their arrival. My parents had gone to many classes and seminars to learn about adoption and racial diversity. They attempted to prepare us for this big change in our lives, but no amount of classes could ever prepare anyone for the amazing gift of Yasu and Gibi. Neither can anyone prepare me for the difficult realization that I would no longer be the youngest, the only sister, or Daddy's only little girl. Thankfully, through prayer, God met me and gave me peace and joy in this magnificent process. In May 2010, we arrived at the orphanage excited to meet our new sister and brother, but they were napping. We waited with great anticipation, and then Yasu emerged and ran straight to David. Soon, Gibi awakened and with less excitement walked into the arms of David, the one who started it all by a dream. We cried as we met the children we came to know through prayer, their biographies, and small pictures. Each day we grew to know and love them more. Yasu has always had a hilarious personality. He loved cars, but especially the sound of the horn. He'd repeat constantly, Makina, meaning car, go beep beep. Our whole family suffered with stomach problems in Ethiopia. One of my brother's stomachs made a loud noise. Yasu said, Timmy go beep beep. Gibi has always been kind and merciful. Even before we left Ethiopia, she showed great care for my stuffed animal and dressed the panda in her new clothes and Crocs. We found her constantly teaching the panda how to go shit to bed on the potty. When we got home, Yasu and Gibi weren't used to America. One day, we were playing lacrosse in our front yard. Yasu had a lacrosse stick in his hand, and every time he'd catch the ball, we'd clap. Suddenly, Yasu's face went blank. He put his hands to his lips and said, whoosh. We looked over and saw a squirrel under a tree. He threw a stick from about 25 feet away, striking the squirrel. Every morning, they'd wake up at sunrise and open our eyelids and ask, awake, awake. Even though this was cute, we were exhausted and told them to wait until the clocks hit 8 to wake us. This wasn't such a good idea. The next morning, we heard a loud honking noise. We all ran outside and found both of them in the front seat of the car laughing and honking the horn. They also spent many mornings washing their clothes, shoes, and dog's hair in the toilet. One morning, they decided to wash his shoes and hang them on the wall, in the wall with duct tape in the sun to dry. They checked hourly to see if the shoes had dried. Our whole family couldn't figure out where they were going, so we followed them and discovered shoes duct taped to the wall outside. Yasu looked up to my brothers and wanted to be exactly like them. Timmy had flip-flops, and so Yasu wanted flip-flops. My mom bought him flip-flops with a strap on the back so his heel wouldn't slip off. Yasu didn't like that they were different than Timmy's. Early in the morning, my dad heard a clanking noise in the kitchen. He found Yasu with a huge butcher knife cutting off the straps on his flip-flops. My dad didn't want to scare him, so he slowly walked over and took the knife. When Yasu and Gibby first came to America, they spoke no English, but they always spoke the language of love. It is clear that they were loved by their family in Ethiopia because they loved others, and especially us so well. I love you, Yasu and Gibby.